Yo, what is going on, guys? This is your boy CJ Beasley here, back again. Today we have yet another battle video from the ICBA. This week we are taking on Coach Splurge, coach of the Bracknell Beedrills. He's a really good buddy of mine. We go back from the ICBA, or excuse me, the TBL from last season. We were both participating in that, so I've known him for a good amount of time at this point. And he's been struggling, as have we. I believe we're 2-4 at this point, and he is 1-5. So we're both just trying to claw our way out of the bottom and just kind of head towards playoffs if there's any chance of that. So definitely want to keep winning. We won last week. Definitely gave us some momentum, and hopefully we can win this week. So looking at his team, he has a Megalodios, the Celesteela, Tabulu, Suicune, Halucha, Chandelure, Palossand, Sneasel, Slurpuff, Venomoth, and the Rotom. So definitely, honestly, like a scary team. Those top 6 are just so threatening. Plus having stuff like the Slurpuff and the Palossand and the Sneasel, like that's just a really scary team, to be honest. So definitely have to be careful around this in this matchup. So I'm just gonna hop right into things. I know this is late. I'm re-recording this because apparently the first time I recorded this I didn't have any audio, so it should be coming out on Monday as well as my next week's battle video. So sorry about this all being late, but hopefully we can get back on track next week. So anyways, first up we got Darkrai with the Darkening MZ with Bad Dreams, Dark Pulse Sludge Bomb, substitute Nasty Plot with 76 HP, max special attack, and 180 speed with a Timid Nature. The idea behind this is it really goes ham against his team, to be honest. And if we can keep a substitute up and if we can keep a substitute up and have his like Halucha either dead or just like in the back with the substitute up, then we pretty much can win this game, especially if we're at +2, if not +4. So that's just the idea going into the set. Dark Pulse plus Sludge Bomb hits everything. So that's just the idea there. Next up we got Victini with the Choice Card Victory Star, V-Create, Bolt Strike, U-Turn, and Toxic with 60 HP, max attack, 12 defense, 28 special defense, and 156 speed with an Adamant Nature. This outspeeds a max speed Megalodios. V-Create plus Bolt Strike hits pretty much everything on his team aside from like the Palossand and the Megalodios. So we got Toxic plus U-Turn there for those respectively. And otherwise, this is pretty much just a standard Victini, just a Choice Scarf set. The IVs the EVs are kind of weird, but you know, besides like Toxic, maybe like Trick or something, but this is pretty standard Victini moveset. Next up, we got Arenola, the Milotic with the Flame Orb, Marvel Scale, Skull, Toxic, Recover, and Haze, with basically max HP, max attack, and a little bit of speed. The speed is to creep uninvested Suicune, I want to say. And Skull plus Toxic basically runs through his team, as does Recover. And then with the Haze, the idea is basically this is my primary switch into the Halucha. So if we can get that thing, basically the idea is to get that exchange where he basically isn't +2. Like I don't care if my load goes down to it, as long as he's not +2, we should be fine. The rest of my team should handle it as long as it's not +2. So that's what the Haze is for, and then Skull plus Toxic is just good in general against this team, like I said. Next up, we got Florges with Leftovers, Moonblast, Wish, Protect, and Defog with 236 HP, 196 defense, 28 speed, special attack, 4 Spadef, and 44 speed with a Modest Nature. This is my primary switch into Megalodios. It can pretty much handle that thing. If he's Calm Mindset, I can Wish pass into my Aggron and use. We'll see the set in a second why that's important. But Wish Protect is really nice for my team, just as support and just keep things healthy as long as possible. And Moonblast plus Defog basically hits every. Well, I guess Moonblast itself hits everything aside from like. What does he have? He has a Celesteela, which it doesn't hit, which is fine because I have answers to Celesteela. And it doesn't hit the Chandelure very hard, but otherwise it hits basically everything on his team super hard. Next up, we got Galvantula with the Leftovers, Compound Eyes, Bug Buzz, Thunder, Volt Switch, and Energy Ball, with basically max special attack, max speed with a Mod's Nature, and a little bit of HP. This should be able to outspeed, I want to say max speed Sneasel is what I want to say it's for. I believe this can now speed max speed Sneasel, and I decided to go away from the Sticky Webs this week as it didn't really seem necessary, as he has like Celesteela, which is off the ground, Suicune that doesn't care. He has Hawlucha that's off the ground, so like there was a lot of things that were like threatening to my team, but they didn't get affected by Sticky Webs. Latias is off the ground, so I decided against it. So we got Bug Buzz, Thunder, Volt Switch, and Energy Ball. Basically hits the entirety of his team. Really doesn't have a switch into this, especially with the Life Orb, so that's just kind of what we're going with. And finally, we got J2 Mewtwo, the Mega Aggron, with the Heavy Slam, Shadow Claw, Roar, and Stealth Rocks with 244 HP, max special defense, 4 speed, and a impish nature actually. That was basically because I wanted some like 244 HP and max special defense. Basically, like it should have been 252. I realize that now actually that we're wasting AABs right here. Oops, should have been like that. I guess I probably misgendered it then too. But it should have been max. Max lets me hit live hits from the Mega Latias, and then so I just went with an Impish Nature just to get a little bit of defense boost for that Tapu Bulu, as this is one of my primary switches to Tapu Bulu. So I definitely wanted that defensive boost. But otherwise, Heavy Slam, Shadow Claw, Roar, Stealth Rocks. I honestly should have gone Toxic over Shadow Claw now that I think about it, but you know, it really doesn't matter. In hindsight, like neither of them would have came into play. But just looking back on his team now, I definitely should have gone Toxic over the Shadow Claw. But Roar is basically so I don't lose to Calm Mind Mega Latias, as it is super scary against my team. And then the Stealth Rocks are there just for hazards, as he doesn't have the best removal. Let me look back on his removal. His removal consists of Mega Latias, I think Hawlucha gets Defog, and Rotom, so he doesn't have the best removal. So if rocks get up, they're basically there to save. So that's super nice. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna stop talking and we'll just hop right into the battle video. Alright guys, so we're back. So looking at the team he brought the Mega Latias, Tapu Bulu, Rotom Frost, Hawlucha, Chandelure, and the Celesteela. So in terms of lead matchups, I basically just kind of went into this game thinking I wanted to lead Galvantula. It really only has a bad lead matchup against like a Scarf Chandelure, which if he leads out, pretty much just assume he's Scarf it at that point. You can play around that accordingly. Otherwise, it's either that or the Mega Latias that has a bad matchup against, but otherwise it's pretty good against this team in general. And it's also kind of expendable just looking at the matchup. Like it's not really that useful besides the Celesteela. So anyways, hopping right into this. So he does lead the Mega Latias, unfortunately. And I do lead the Galvantula. And so here I thought about just going for the Bug Buzz, but like a Draco Meteor. If he was Draco Meteor with max special attack, it would have OHKO'd me. And so I just decided to go into my Florges, as I do have this as my switch in. And so here he does just go for the or he does Mega up first, and then he does just go for the Reflect type actually, which is pretty surprising. It's actually kind of cool tech that he's packing. But what it does is basically copy my typing. So now it's a Fairy type, which is pretty cool. But here I know I have a pretty free switch into my Mega Aggron. And so here we've seen Calm Mind and Reflect type. So I assumed it was a Calm Mind set if it was a Reflect type. But now we know he either doesn't have, he's either Mono Psychic with Recover, or he doesn't have Recover. Like that's basically his only options. But I don't see him being Mono Psychic against a team with Darkrai. Maybe Mono Dragon. But then he can't do that with Florges. So at this point I'm like, okay, he probably doesn't have Recovery in any form. But here he just goes for the Reflect type again, which is understandable as it was a Fairy type and I could have easily gone for the Heavy Slam, but I just decided to set my rocks because I kind of want to see what he wants to go for here. And I could live two of whatever he wanted to go for, as he does go for the Reflect type again. I don't know if that was a misclick or if he was predicting me to switch back into my Florges or what. But we do just go for the Roar. And we do roar him out into his Celesteela, which is absolutely perfect. Nothing to complain about there, as I can just go to my Victini, I want to say. Yeah, I think I go my Victini at this point. Yep, I go to my Victini. As with my bulk, I can take 2 Earthquakes from uninvested. Celesteela. And so that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I take less than half, which is absolutely perfect. And at this point, I pretty freely can click either U-turn or Bull Strike. But I decided to click Bull Strike as it basically hit everything that wasn't Mega Lottie. The U-turn was kind of obvious. So he does go for the U-turn, or I do go for the Bull Strike, as he actually goes into Chandelure, which is pretty surprising, as I do have the Stealth Rocks up. I guess he was anticipating the V create, but I'll go for the Bull Strike, and almost kills him. It does about 70%, maybe 65%. And so here I expect him to just want to go for like a Shadow Ball, as I forgot. Hold on, let me pause it. Okay, I forgot to mention. Basically what had to happen was he didn't get Jenner in time, and so basically what happened was I gen him his team, and I didn't look at any of the sets besides like seeing the items and which Pokemon he was bringing, obviously because I had to gen it, and that's just how it displays it when we trade. But besides that, I didn't look at anything, but I knew he was Choice Scarfed Chandelure, just because like I saw the item. And so I anticipated him just want to go for like a last ditch, Shadow Ball just to try to get some damage off. So I switch out accordingly, and I actually go out into my Darkrai, I want to say. And so here, I'll move the mouse. But here, yeah, I go into my Darkrai as I do anticipate the Shadow Ball to come off, either that or Trick, and I do have the Z move, so it can't trick me anyways. And so here I actually go for the substitute, which in hindsight I honestly should have gone for the Nasty Plot first, in case he would have like been comfortable to try to like Leech Seed or protect me against me or something like that. But I mean, honestly, if I was Nasty Plotting, he'd probably want to go for the Heavy Slam either way. So here I go for the Nasty Plot, as he does go for the Heavy Slam, and it's going to break my substitute. I'm a little ahead, sorry. But I go for the Nasty Plot, just to get to +2, and start to deal some serious damage. And so here, he will break the substitute with the Heavy Slam, and I have a choice. I can either go for the Dark Z, or I can go for another substitute and see what he wants to go for. And I go for the Dark Z, and he makes a really smart play and going into the Chandelure and stacking it to Stealth Rocks, and because he knew I was the Z move, so he probably anticipated coming off there, which is really smart on his part, honestly. And so I just go for the Z move. It's gonna fail, obviously, and honestly, if I would have clicked the substitute, I was really tempted to click the substitute, but if I clicked the substitute, I probably honestly would have been game there if I was +2 behind a substitute. Well, actually, probably not, just because he still has the Celesteela around. I don't know, I'd have to think about that, but actually probably wasn't game. Well, no, it would have been, because I would have still had my Z move, so yeah, I probably would have been game. But either way, we go for the Dark Pulse. It does about 70%, and he does go for the Heavy Slam, which I know I can live one pretty easily, to be honest, as we have figured out at this point that he is pretty much uninvested from that Victini calc. And so here I can pretty freely go for the Dark Pulse yet again, because even if he goes into the Bulu, we know he's not Scarf, so I can just Sludge Bomb that after. So we go for the Dark Pulse, and so here basically his only thing that can come in on this is the Bulu, or not even the Bulu, but he would have to bring in Hawlucha, but Hawlucha wouldn't outspeed me at this point, so he has to go Bulu first and sack it, which is unfortunate for him, but it works out for me. So I go for the Sludge Bomb. He doesn't have a switch into this thing at this point. Even if he would have gone to his Hawlucha, +2 Sludge Bomb, O-Code, I believe. So we're going to get back out to half health, and he does go out into his Hawlucha at this point, because it's the only thing that doesn't lose to my Darkrai outright. So he pops the Grassy Seed, and I will just go into my Milotic, as it was the play the entire time. Just grab my Milotic. As he does go for the Sword Stance. And so, like I said earlier, as long as I can keep him at neutral attack, I don't really care what happens to my Milotic. So he does go for the Acrobatics, as it does just over half to me, actually, which is pretty surprising. I could have sworn I calculated that wouldn't do over half, even Adamant, but I guess not. So maybe he got like a max roll or something, but either way, we're gonna get a little bit of recovery, and he does go for the Sword Stance yet again, as I do go for the Recover. Just trying to get out of this exchange. pretty safely. And so here we go for the recover as we are back up to full. And at this point, I should just go for the haze again, I believe, if I remember correctly. As he does just go for the drain punch, which was a fine play. It does a good chunk, not as much as acrobatics would have done, but it does a good chunk still. And I will just go for the haze, as it was like I said earlier, the game plan here is just basically not have him at +2, and I don't lose to it basically. And so here, I should have gone for the recover, but I actually go for the scald, not thinking about burn damage. So I knew from this point I could live in acrobatics at +2, but not not thinking about the burn damage, because at this point I probably don't live in acrobatics. It's gonna be a roll, and unfortunately he gets the roll, so that's pretty unfortunate. And he is +2, so this is a super scary Halucha. But I can go into my Mega Aggron because I know a +2 Drain Punch actually doesn't OHKO me, unless if he has a high jump kick. But we've seen Drain Punch, Acrobatics, and Sword Stance, so maybe he does. But we just see the Drain Punch does less than half, which is absolutely crazy. How bulky Aggron really is, and we can just go for the roar. I could have gone for the Heavy Slam, but it was a roll to kill, and +2 is way scarier than like risking the roll. Plus, I didn't know how much Drain Punch did, so. Either way, we're gonna roar him out to the Megalati, as I can go back into my Florges, Wish Pass, and then go back into my Aggron. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So he goes for the Reflect type, which makes sense, as I will go into my Florges and click the Wish, just trying to pass it back into my Mega Aggron. And so here he goes for the Combine, as I go for the Wish, like I said. And so he's +1, but at this point I'm like, unless if he has like Surf or something, he doesn't touch my Mega Aggron, and I would be very surprised to see him have Surf at this point, especially just having 2 coverage moves. So but we go into the Mega Aggron, and he goes for Calm Mind again, which is understandable. And so here I was trying to see if I can like catch him, maybe going for like a Surf if he even had it, or like basically anything besides the Reflect type, just seeing if I can catch him just sleeping. But he goes for the Reflect type, so as I go for the Heavy Slam, which is fine. And so we're gonna go for a Heavy Slam. It's gonna do barely nothing. It does a nice 25%, which is pretty good for a resisted hit. But here he will go for the Dragon Pulse, so this kind of confirms what his set is. So he's most likely Side Shock, Dragon Pulse, Calm Mind, and Reflect type. Which is honestly a pretty cool set, as we do go for the Roar, just phase him out, hoping to get in something in our favorable matchup. And here he actually gets pushed out into the Halucha, as I can just go for the Heavy Slam, I believe. I want to say is the play. Yeah, so that does basically nothing. It does about like 20%, if that. And we will go for the Heavy Slam, bring him down pretty low. And we almost OHKO, but he lives on just a sliver. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I know he's going to want to go for the Drain Punch. So I'm just going to go on my Florges. And, like, just basically tank this hit, because I don't want my Mega Aggron going down at all, because it's just so valuable for me. So we will just go for the Moonblast here at this point. Take the Acrobatics that's coming, like the obvious Acrobatics, since he doesn't have anything to switch into at this point anyways. So he goes for the Acrobatics, and I go for the Moonblast, as it does bring us pretty low, but we will KO this Halucha, which is great. So at this point we're up 5-2. Aggron's putting in all the work. But here he goes on to his Rotom Frost. And so at this point, I can just go for the Protection. I just kind of scout what he wants to go for, because by jetting in his team, I learned that he was Choice Specs. So I just kind of want to learn what he's going to go for. And so at this point, I know after Leftovers, I can actually live a Thunderbolt and go for the Wish. Unless if he was Modest, which I didn't know. I assumed he wasn't Modest. But we do live on just a sliver. And so we go for the Wish and are basically able to just to Wish protect ourselves back up. Oh, and I also want to mention that I did tell him my sets as well. So I didn't just like take his sets, know his 6 Mons, and his items. Like I told him my 6 months I was bringing in my items, just to try to make it as fair as possible, even though like it's a weird situation. But so here, he's locked into the Thunderbolt at this point, as I just go for the protect, and so he goes for the Thunderbolt again. I'm just gonna keep witching back up until I'm at full health. So it's just kind of a long interaction here. So just bear with me for a minute. So we get some leftovers. We're just gonna protect again, you know, and just get back up to full. As he goes for the Thunderbolt again, because like the only money he has left besides this is the Mega Lottie, and it doesn't want to take a stray Moonblast. So it's understandable why he's not switching out. I honestly would have locked myself into Blizzard maybe, just because it did over half, but like he obviously didn't like necessarily know that. But we just go for the Witch one more time, are able to protect, and then I believe we go on the offensive at that point and just go for the Moonblast. Or maybe we go for Moonblast here. Do we go for Moonblast here? Yeah, we go for Moonblast here because I know I can obviously live one unless if he gets a crit, which he doesn't. And we go for the Moonblast, and it actually, spoiler alert, it goes for, we go for the Moonblast and actually Okos it with a crit, which, like, you could say the crit mattered, but he would have been in Stealth Rock's range. And so if he tried to switch out and try to come back in, it wouldn't have mattered. And I could have just kept going through that cycle, unless if he got his own crit, I would have won that interaction. So it didn't really matter, in my opinion. But you know, it's still unfortunate. But here I can go for a Wish, and just go onto my Darkrai is basically the idea. And the switch into like AGGRON or something was kind of obvious at this point. So it's understandable why his play was Reflect type here, but I didn't necessarily think he'd want to go for that. But the switch into AGGRON, like I said, or even the Darkrai was kind of obvious. But I go into the Darkrai because I can live a max special attack Dark Pulse at my range and get back up to practically full, or I do get back up to full actually. And he goes for the Reflect type. So here I'm just gonna kind of stuck clicking Sludge Bomb, which is fine because he doesn't have recovery. He's shown me his full moveset at this point. And so he goes for the Combine, as I can go for the Sludge Bomb again, and it looks about a roll to KO, just depending how bulky he is, and I haven't really been like keeping track of his bulk necessarily. But he lives on just a sliver, and he goes for the Dragon Pulse, which is fine because I can always live a +1 Dragon Pulse from full. Does about just over 50%, and I can go for the Sludge Bomb to finish out this game. So we do win. We win 5-0 against Splurge. It puts us at 2-0 at this, or 2-4, excuse me, at this point. We're clawing back in, or 3-4, excuse me. We're 3-4 at this point. Just trying to claw back into the playoffs. It's not impossible for us to make playoffs, but it's definitely going to be a tricky road. We pretty much have to win the last 3 or 4 of our games. I don't remember how many we have left, but I definitely have to win the rest, which is, like I said, is going to be tricky, but hopefully we can do it. We are making some free agent transactions that I will explain in my next video. And so anyways guys, I'm gonna stop talking. If you like this video, definitely hit the like button, subscribe if you guys are new, like all the YouTubers say, and definitely go check out Splurge's side of the video. I'm sure it's already up by the time this is going up, but definitely go check out the side of the video. And anyways guys, I'm gonna stop talking. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.